Can you walk us through the benefits of having godly parents who were able to nurture what they already knew the purpose was for your life?
And, I like to use analogies a lot. It's like having a great coach.
Come on.
When you're trying to be a great athlete, you have somebody that teaches you the game the correct way, that teaches you the right techniques, how to carry yourself and how to be a professional. What faith can do is absolutely incredible.
100%.
So honored just to be in this position right now to work with, young kids, college kids, pro.
That's so good.
It blows my mind. But now I'm creating discipleship. So they're building their own, when they get older.
It's duplication.
Their own. I got guys at Fresno State right now that are building their own, and guys at, New York Jets building their own. That's what I love to see. I knew way back when I was a kid, I knew that I would be in some type of ministry. I have so many family members that are deacons and pastors, and they poured into me since I was a little kid. Things are going to change for you mentally, physically, spiritually. So you have to make sure that you protect yourself. You have to make sure that you stay rooted.
On today's episode of the Brick by Brick podcast, I'm so excited to have Élon Paige, former Division I football player, professional football player in the AFL, business owner, most importantly, life counselor, man of God, business owner for Purpose Field, which we'll get into. But so excited to have you, bro.
Appreciate you, Drew.
Appreciate you for driving all the way out from Fresno, California. Shout out Central Valley.
Yes, sir.
Let's go. Right off the bat, I want you, in your own words, in your own experience, can you define the word purpose?
Definitely. Purpose for me is, it's a daily destination. It's not something where you arrive at, suddenly. It's something that takes time. For me, my purpose has always been, to serve other people. It's never been, what I can do for myself, how I can fulfill myself. Is how can I plant? How can I grow somebody else's seed? And, for me, from my upbringing and my parents showing me the way, and it's always been about love. It's above everything, no matter what disagreements you have with anybody, no matter what differences you have with anybody, always love. And you find that, you put that at the forefront, life is so much better for you. And it's guided me, not just in sports, but, off the field as well. Always loving people, always find a way to be the uplifter, be the person that's bringing everything down, but coming into any space and impacting it for the positive. That's my purpose.
Yeah. And I could see it all over you. So like, this is our first time meeting ever. But like your aroma is joy.
Amen.
So like you're a light, you're being a light just by showing up in a room. And I think more Christians, if we can understand that concept of being a light, it's not the light that's plugged into power where you turn on, turn off. Like you are a light. Your aroma is joy, and that comes from the Lord. Which, come on now. And so you said something, and I love that you said it because this is kind of my definition of purpose. Mine would be the reason in which we exist in order to glorify God. And if you look throughout the scriptures, right, just a few that pop into my mind, Romans 8:28, right? It's a famous one, and we know that in all things God works together for the good of those who love him, who are called according to his purpose, right? Proverbs 19:21, many are the plans of a man, but it's the Lord's purpose that prevails, right? And then Acts 13:36, and I know all this because I'm doing a study on it, but it says David, even having served God's purpose in his generation, died and his body saw decay. So like, know him, make him known, die, and be forgotten. Right? Like if we as Christians, and I think of like a guy like Billy Graham, right? I think he's so known because his goal was never to be known.
Of course.
Do you know what I'm saying? He just wanted to go serve people. So if we understand that our purpose is not our own, it's his, right? It's his purpose. And then we start to serve God's people out of that.
There it is.
I love that. So can you talk about, you mentioned how it was a process to discover your purpose. Take us back to the early days of your upbringing. You mentioned you had a great upbringing. Yes. Praise God. Not everybody has that. Can you walk us through the benefits of having godly parents who were able to nurture what they already knew the purpose was for your life?
And, I like to use analogies a lot. It's like having a great coach.
Come on.
When you're trying to be a great athlete, you have somebody that, that teaches you the game the correct way, that teaches you the right techniques, how to carry yourself and how to be a professional. So, as a young kid, my father was a professional athlete. He played for Kansas City.
Okay.
9 years. So, growing up in the atmosphere of Arrowhead Stadium,
That's so cool.
Watching him, off the field as a man, as a husband, as a father, the way he treated his wife, the way he raised his kids, watching my mom serve and be the amazing mother that she was, and teaching us how to serve other people, and taking us, to the homeless, kitchen and different things like that, and just serving the community. That became part of my childhood, and I normalized that, and it carried me not just through childhood, but into adulthood, and taught me that, the world is not about me. I've been blessed with so much. I could complain about these little things, but I could really look at what God has given me and then use that platform, use those blessings and that favor that he's given me, and then give that back to other people. So I'm really, so blessed that my parents showed me that, at such a young age, and normalized that for me to, you got blessings, you got favor, you gotta give that back. You can't just hold it for yourself and just be I call it a closet Christian. You got to go out, you got to shine your light everywhere in any space that you can, take advantage of your platform.
Yes.
I'm just so honored, just to be, a son of Paul and Stefan.
Come on.
And to have those role models in my life, like you said, not a lot of people have that.
Yeah.
And, and I try to be that now, as a mentor to the mentees that I work with that may not have that in their life. I try to be that person because I was given that, as a child.
Yeah. So you mentioned the importance of parents. Obviously, that's so big. And the world we live in, this disease, if you will, of fatherlessness.
Yes.
Like, can you talk about what you've seen in other people's lives? Because you live in the Central Valley. Yes. It's prevalent there. I'm from Merced, so very, very close to where you're at. So I know homelessness, fatherlessness, like people growing up without fathers, without role models. They don't have it as good. So, what do you have to say about maybe people watching who don't have that role model? How can they then, and who should they then look to get that guidance, to get that wisdom? And you do this for a living. You coach and you mentor. So what would be your wisdom for people watching who don't have a father, they don't have a role model? What can they do practically to change their life and start walking in their purpose?
I would say the best thing to do is just be transparent. That's the first thing, is you got to be honest and say, hey, I need some help. I need some people that can pour into me. I need some people that can speak into me. And you got, there's life counselors at school. There's teachers. There's coaches if you play a sport. There's grandparents. There's pastors. There's so many, avenues and channels and resources. But if you're not willing to take that step and say, I need some help, then you won't be able to get the help. So, and then it's also our responsibility as the mentors, as the life counselors, to seek out those people and to see, okay, I see that kid needs some help. I see that young man maybe needs some coaching, some extra guidance. I see this young lady maybe needs some extra coaching, some guidance. And it's our job to go into those spaces and to really, to pour that love into them. So
that's so good.
There's resources out there available. But again, it comes down to the ability to reach out on both sides and to really connect and not just be apathetic about it and think somebody else is going to change it. We got to go. We got to be the ones that are going to step up and be assertive.
That's it right there. I think it's such a common mindset is the next person will do it.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
It's like the Samaritan, like the next person will do it. The next person will do it. They just keep passing up the need that God maybe called you to fulfill.
That's it.
So it's like, I always say, assess the need, don't assume the need.
There it is.
So homeless people don't need, they don't need money.
Right.
They need the gospel.
Come on.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like kids don't need just physical training. That's what I love about what you do. And I want to talk about that later. Mm-hmm. They need discipleship, fellowship, the love of God displayed through a person, because people will trust a Christian before they'll trust in Christ. True. That's just us as humans. True. So I think it's so important to understand, like, we have a purpose and a role to play, and it's to serve God's people. And that is actually the most fulfilled we will be. And I think something clicks about the Christian life when you actually start to serve other people. And it's not about you, and you're actually more filled.
Come on, sir.
Than when you're trying to serve yourself and please yourself. And it's because the kingdom's upside down. We know this. Yes. But if people would understand it's not about you, right? It's first about the king. Yes. And if it's about the king, then we start to act like the king, which is showing love to other people, and we start to serve other people. So you were raised in church, is that correct?
Raised in church.
So it's been normal for you to serve. Like,
it's been normal.
Yeah, you don't show up to church for you show up to church for others.
That's it.
and that I'm teaching this on Sunday, but it's like this revelation. When you come to the revelation that coming to church is not for you, it's for others, then the Christian life clicks.
That's it.
So, okay, so talk about the importance then. Men and women watching, they desire a husband or wife, they desire a family and kids. Talk about the importance of being raised in a Christian home around the Christian faith in church. Talk about that.
I would say the most important thing about being raised, within the Christian faith is having the structure and also having the playbook.
Come on.
That playbook is the game changer.
Yes.
Because there's so many different things that come up in life, so many different challenges. Life can be tough sometimes. There's temptations.
Yep.
You might have a medical scare. You might lose a family member. There's so many things that could come up, but how are you going to respond? So I go back to the analogy with sports. If you throw a pick, what are you going to do on the next drive? You're going to come back and throw another pick, or you're going to find your confidence, get back to praise, and go and get that first down. So that's what I would tell anybody that's starting a family or starting a relationship that wants to get rooted into the foundation of a church body of Christ, to make sure you have that structure. That structure is so important because you can't do it by yourself. You need God. God it has to be the foundation, has to be the director. Because like I said, so many things are going to come into life. You're not going to have the answers on your own. You're going to need to get to that word. You're going to need to get to that scripture, and you're going to need that community as well. That's the biggest thing. I know for me, having a community of people that I can lean on, that I can talk to, that I can go to any time of the day, that can give me the real, that can correct me when I'm doing stuff wrong, and tell me the honest, truth. And I'll have enough trust to listen to them because I know that they're guided by God as well. And then that can help me, go forward in life. So, that's probably the best advice I would give them.
That's huge. Yes. And you mentioned community. It's got to be the right community.
Got to be
right. So it's like, you can't, like the Bible says, don't cast your pearls to pigs. Right. So like if you're talking to, nothing wrong with secular people. It's just they're not in the same headspace as us. They don't have the gift of faith, So like, why would they give you wisdom? So it's so important to surround yourself with biblical community as a Christian so that you can grow into your purpose. Okay, so you make your way to Division I college football. Oh, yeah. What schools did you play at? You played at multiple, right?
Yeah, so I played at Sacramento State. That's
Shout out.
My scholarship out of high school. And then I went to Southwest Baptist, which is smaller. That was my senior year, my graduate year.
Okay.
So I was a graduate senior playing there. I loved it.
Let's go.
Absolutely fun. Private, small Christian college, very small town. Absolutely loved it. But yeah, it was a journey.
Absolutely.
It was every athlete goes through their ups and downs. It's just the way sports is, and it's something you sign up for, so you expect it. So I wouldn't say that I was a super struggle or anything, because it's something I signed up for, but it taught me about life, life lessons. There's ups, there's downs. How are you going to respond? You're going to quit? Either you're going to blame somebody else, or you're just going to get to the work. And, that's what I did. I just taught myself, like I said, I had the community, I had my family, I had so many great friends that when things were going, not right, maybe not getting playing time when I thought I should, not getting the ball and not getting the right numbers and stats, I would go to my community. I would sit, I would pray after games or pray before games and just talk to God, say, God, just keep me level. And everything that goes wrong, Lord, I'm gonna give you the praise. And that's cool. That's been my standard, and that's got me, to where I am, today, and then even after college, and going to my NFL pro day at Fresno State and working out in front of NFL teams and all that, and not having the same production as all these guys I'm working next to, but still God elevated me, to another level because, like I said, it came down to my praise. I'm just going to work. I'm not going to worry about what the past was or what I didn't do, what I don't have, how good this guy is. Just going to get to my praise and get to the work, and then he'll take care of everything else. And that's when those doors open.
That's a word for some athletes watching right now.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever felt unqualified for something? Maybe you don't have credentials, a license. How about disqualified? Have you ever felt like you have done something, maybe in your past, maybe you're currently doing it in your present, that is disqualifying you from the love of God or maybe God's purpose in your life? Well, I have good news. My ministry is actually called Undisqualified. Our goal is to encounter and equip those who feel unqualified for and disqualified from their God-given purpose. Here's what I want you to do. Click the link in the bio It'll take you to a website. It's going to explain all that we do. Our goal is to impact really two groups of people: prisoners, so those that are incarcerated, and young adults. You'll see what we're doing. We want to go into all 33 prisons, preach the gospel, host concerts, live worship events, set the captives free. And we want to also raise up the next generation of leaders. We want to have young adult retreats. We want to do ministry and life with them. So go click the link, get back to the conversation. Because, okay, so I have a background in sports too. Yep. For me, I found my identity in it. I don't know if you've ever struggled with like finding your identity in sports, and like finding balance in that. But for me, also my view of God was the same as it was on the field. So if I go perform well, God loves me more. And if I suck, I was raised to where I got yelled at. I was coached hard. And it was like I was told I sucked. So that was my view of God. I had to perform. And when I did well, I was praised. Yeah, validation, approval, right, of man. And I spent a lot of my life doing that. And so when sports was over for me, I was crushed. So I want to hear if your situation was similar, because you chose to walk away from the game of football after you went pro. Like, I would say that's a dream accomplished. Maybe you didn't go to the NFL, but it's still a dream accomplished. So did you have a similar situation of finding your identity in sports, or how'd that go for you?
I would say, my dad really helped me with that early.
So good.
Really worry about connecting. He was like, you know what? This is what you play. This is not who you are.
That's so good.
And he was the opposite of what you had. He was the father that was kind of like laissez-faire. He was hands off. If I needed help, he would help me. You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't, chastise me or anything, or and that's kind of how I always had a struggle with coaches who were the opposite of my dad. It was kind of weird. The coaches that would yell, curse you out and get mad, catch the ball and all that stuff like that. I kind of struggled with those guys, but it for me, it was just learning how to not live in the shadow of doing what he did.
And your dad was pro. My dad was pro. That's even more impressive that he wasn't like, you got to, it's the name, you got to.
A lot of people are surprised when I tell them that. Like, my dad he was chill. He was sitting in the stands. He was just, you wouldn't even know he was there. He was just super chill. My mom's the same way. Like, they were both super chill, even though they had, this high IQ and knew what the game was, but they just allowed me to find my way. And
it's so good.
That's why I had passion for the game. I enjoyed it. It was fun for me. I never came home. I was like, oh man, here we go. Like, I had these conversations like, no, hey, I love you, son. I'm proud of you. You're my guy. Keep working, keep having fun. That was the conversations that we had. So, for me, it was just, like I said, just learning how to deal with being in the shadow of an NFL player and not trying to live up to the expectations that he had, because I was never, going to get to that level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If God had it for me, okay, yeah. But for the most part, it's very rare.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So just to play your game, worry about who you are, build your name as Élon, and just focus on that, and everything else will take care of itself. So that's kind of like the only real issue I had, dealing as a young athlete.
Brother, that's so good. Yeah. So there was never any unwarranted pressure put on you. And you actually went further than I would say most people that do have the pressure put on them, because people with pressure actually face more burnout.
Exactly.
Oh, I got to dive deeper into this.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of men that I counsel who are obsessed with sports. What say you about healthy boundaries? And I'm talking about like watching sports. They're obsessed with teams. They're obsessed with athletes. Like, they have the past experience in athletics. What say you on guarding your heart around the sports world? Because I know I used to fall into it. Like, I'm like obsessed with my team, but it's such a like mood kill to people around you. If you're so obsessed with a team, like, dude, be addicted with Jesus. Do you know what I'm saying? So what say you, because you've lived the opposite, which is more fruitful, more beneficial, more joyous, more gentle. I want you to dive deeper into that, because like a lot of my audience is men who love sports, but you went to the top of the top, and you're saying, no, it's what I play. It's not what I do. So like, a little more on that.
You can even expand that. It comes down to, idolatry.
100%.
Literally, we got gambling now. You got all these different betting things and fantasy. It's, it makes it so much more to like it's a part of their life, it's a part of their passion. But like you said, is it fruitful? Is it edifying to your spirit to be so overly consumed with one thing like that? And I don't think that's healthy. You know, I don't think from a mental health standpoint that's healthy. I don't think for your family relationships that's healthy. And so what you have to do is you have to make sure that you keep sports what it is. It's entertainment. You know, it's entertainment. It's not your income. It's not you're not part of that organization. You're not out there getting a game check. You're not getting signed. You know, relax, have fun as a fan, enjoy it.
Yeah.
But if your team loses, it's cool. You don't got to fight nobody in the stands like you see on TV. You know, just enjoy and have a great time because sports is out there for us to enjoy. You know, that's what it is. It's not for us to build enemies and oppose people. But that goes on an even broader spectrum. How many things in the world do we look at as gods?
Yes.
We end up fighting each other because of it. You know what I'm saying? Politics and different things like that. So I try to help people with using my platform just to kind of tell people, hey, let's chill out. You know, let's calm down and let's see things for what it is. And let's always, like I said, come back to it. Love people first, treat people with kindness, be decent, you know, be civil. And if you just start there, I mean, everything else will work out for you.
It's so needed, this topic right here, because I've thought about this a lot, and I've had to set healthy boundaries for me, like being obsessed with sports in the past, playing them, not so much watching them ever, but I couldn't tell you the last professional game I've watched in full. You know, I actually like watching golf.
Oh, nice.
But that's just kind of where I'm at now. But and I'm not saying this is for everyone, but I would say I've always pictured this like vision in my head of my son wanting to play with me, and I'm too busy watching Sunday football.
Wow.
Oh, it crushes my heart, dude.
Wow.
It crushes my heart. And I think more men need to get this revelation that, like, dude, football and fantasy and all this thing, it's fun. Yeah. It's fun. Yeah. It's entertainment. It's okay. It's not sin. It can be.
Yeah.
It can be if it turns into idolatry.
Yeah.
But I think more people need to like the scripture says, rend your hearts, not your garments.
There it is.
Right? He's saying outer appearance, cool, but I see the heart. Does your heart break for the things that break mine? And I think of so many men who are consumed with football on a Sunday or basketball throughout the week or baseball games, and like they're just diving so deep into the fantasy and the stuff, and it's like, are you preparing for marriage because you say you want it? Are you preparing for self-sacrifice because that's what marriage is? That's what family is. I'm going through it. I'm married. I got 2 kids. I just simply don't have time for.
That's it.
I don't. You have to delegate time accordingly.
That's it. No, literally, time is the most important thing. Like, you're taking away time from God. You're taking away time from your family. You're taking away time from your self-development. I mean, you can't get that back. So
yeah.
It's so precious, you know, protect it, keep it in balance, keep level, like have your fun, but, you know, put those barriers in place.
Yes.
Those barriers in place is so important for your life. Long term.
All right, guys. So I'm not crazy. This is coming from a former professional athlete. It's not just me who doesn't play sports anymore. This is coming from wisdom.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, are you in your 20s or 30s and maybe you feel lost or confused and you have questions? Well, part of what I've done the past 2 years is mentored and coached plenty of young adults. I've heard and seen things in their lives. I've studied trends that are going on in your generation. And here's what I want to do. I want to help and serve you. I want to walk with you, and I want to answer any questions that you have. I want to do life with you. So here's the thing. There's a link in my bio. It is a Zoom call to book a call one-on-one with me to go through life's problems. I want to connect with you on a personal level. This is completely free. I am simply passionate about the next generation, and I want to be able to pour into you, connect with you, disciple you, mentor you, whatever it is that you need. I want to connect. So go in the link, book a call with me right now. Let's go. Okay, so you walk away from football.
Yep.
What now?
So even when I was in college, I was already formulating my business. So I was already thinking like, I need to go into ministry, you know, and I need to combine it. I need to combine ministry with sports.
Yes.
And I actually started working with a athlete at Sacramento High.
Okay.
His name was Jalen Angel. He ended up going to San Diego University.
Let's go.
Really great player. And that was my first kid. I was like 20 years old. And I started mentoring him and teaching him how to get recruited and teaching him how to prepare before games and just ministering to him on a fellowship side. And that kind of showed me, okay, this is the seed. This is where you're going to be later on. Maybe not right now, because you're still playing, you're still pursuing your dreams and doing that. But that showed me, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. And so, when I was in the Arena League, I had a night and I was just sitting in the hotel and I was watching a sermon, and this is from my church back home and back in Fresno, and I was watching a sermon. He was just talking about obedience, and the words were just hitting me, and I'm just like crying. I'm sitting there like I just came back from a meeting, from one of our receiver meetings, and I'm just sitting there, I'm watching them like just crying, like, man, this is it. Like, I don't feel like I'm being obedient in what I'm doing right now. Everything I'm doing right now is for me. It's a selfish pursuit. Everything I'm doing, I'm trying to me. I'm trying to NFL me. I'm thinking everything is always about me. It's not about the people that I could be impacting, because right now, Élon, the football player, is not having an impact on the world like Élon, the ministry person, could be. Élon, the life counselor, could be. So that's that moment, I reached out to my coach right after that, and I said, Coach, I'm done. Like, release me, and that was
Whoa.
it. And then I went right back to Fresno. I was in Nebraska. I went right back to Fresno, and I dove right to it. And I started just going forward and reaching out to different kids and parents and seeing who needed help on the life side and who needed physical development. And then it just kind of exploded. One became two became four, and then so forth. A domino effect, because it was needed. There's a space. I'm sure there's a huge void in mentorship, especially for men, right?
Yes.
And so our thing, like I said, is to be assertive and to go into those spaces and really target it. So, looking back, I never thought it would be what it is today, but by the grace of God, what integrity does, what honesty does, what faith can do is absolutely incredible.
100%.
So honored just to be in this position right now, to work with, young kids, college kids, pro.
That's so good.
It blows my mind. But now I'm creating discipleship. So they're building their own, when they get older.
It's duplication.
Their own. I got guys at Fresno State right now that are building their own, and guys at, New York Jets building their own. That's what I love to see.
Bro, that's fine.
It's not just about me now. It's the branches that come off of what we did way back then. So it's a blessing. It truly is.
When did you said you worked with a high school athlete at 20? Mm-hmm. You were 20.
Yeah, I was 20 years
When
old.
did you walk away from the sport?
So I was 27, 26. Yeah, about 27, 26.
So you caught the vision at 20.
Yeah. It was early.
But you went through the process of planting the seed.
Yeah, way earlier.
And then 7 years later, you got a word from God.
Got a word.
Oh, man. Okay. So when we get a word from God, we can either choose to not act on the word, or we can carry the word through prayer.
There it is.
It sounds like you carried the word and you were obedient to the word.
Yes, sir.
And too many people, I think, are waiting on a word from God when God already gave them a word and he's waiting on them.
That's it. Ooh.
So you acted upon the word that you received by faith. It's Hebrews 11:1, right? The confidence of what we hope for, the assurance of what we do not see. You had confidence and, I'm called to this 100%. Yes. You had a gifting, you had a calling, you're now discovering your God-given purpose. You get a word, you act on it, you go, it blew up because of the things that you mentioned: faith, integrity, honesty, transparency, and you filled a void. So you found a need and you fulfilled it, like we talked about earlier.
That's it, yep.
Because your gifting is equipped for it. Okay, so tell me about what you do. So so it's a business, yes, but I want to call it a ministry too. It's called Purpose Field. Mm-hmm. How'd that name come about?
Yeah, and it's a play on words.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's FIELD, so it's like a field of play, but we're filled with purpose, so it's Purpose Field. So that was the key. I want to let people know, first and foremost, this is what we are. We're faith-based, business, but we're filled with purpose.
Yes.
For every single space we get into, we're going to pour into people, and we're going to show people, what God can do, when you fully connect with him and just, submit,
Yeah.
key. So, Like it's just crazy. Like I said earlier, from where it was, to where it is now, and just to see what God has done. Because I knew way back, when I was a kid, I knew that I would be in some type of ministry. I have so many family members that are deacons and pastors, and they poured into me since I was a little kid. But even when I was in the locker room, I noticed that people were attracted to me as far as coming forward with what they had on their heart. Maybe they were dealing with something at home, if their parents got a divorce, or they're going through something with their significant other, girlfriend on campus or whatever. They always come to me and ask for advice because they knew that I was connected, that I had that faith in me because my light was so, it was shining. So they would come to me and ask me different questions, get wisdom. And I'm, 15, 16 years old, ministering, praying for them.
Let's go.
And being unabashed and unashamed. So I think that was the early part, and that just kind of carried and built. And of course, I went through my growth process, not being perfect, obviously, but allowing God to really work in through me and get different flaws checked and being okay with not being okay. And then also allowing, myself to be checked. And I think that's important for us as men, to not think we have all the answers, and to not always think that we're so correct. But we can be ministered to, we can be corrected, we can be challenged, we can be critiqued. And the more that we take in, right, the more that we accept it, man, game changer. It's just like an athlete, right? The more you can take in that wisdom and that coaching, it'll be so much better. That's just the key to life. Yeah. The more you can listen, get the active listening, and learn how to communicate, crazy doors will open.
I've heard it said, if your output exceeds your intake, then your downfall.
There it is.
Right? Then that will be your downfall.
There it is.
So we have to get poured into more than we're putting into people.
Have to.
And it sounds like the most successful people in ministry, they're getting poured into. They have mentors, right? It's not like, hey, you become a pastor or you become a business owner who's doing ministry. Now it's like, I'm good, I'm dialed. No. You have a lot more of an assignment and an anointing. You need to be poured into. You need to be held accountable. So that's a word for somebody too, because I think the more you elevate, the more accountability you need.
Definitely.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because it's like the higher you get, the harder you fall.
Even think about, so I work with, especially my pro guys, that's the conversation I have a lot about, understanding how to protect yourself, with finances as the wealth goes up, as the notoriety goes up, as the followers go up.
Yes.
Things are going to change for you mentally, physically, spiritually. So you have to make sure that you protect yourself. You have to make sure that you stay rooted in your foundation of who you were before all this stuff came. And that's the most important thing, even for us as pastors, as mentors in business. Yeah. Make sure you keep that foundation the way it was. Don't change just because you get a little success and or clapping their hands, patting you on the back and praising you. Stay level. He gets the glory no matter what. That's the end of the day. You keep that the right thing, keep that the first thing, you'll be all right.
That's so good because I think of a home, right? I love illustrations too. I'm a very creative preacher. So I think of a home, right? If you want to make upgrades to the home, you don't do anything to the foundation.
Come on.
You just change the cabinets. So there's nothing wrong with changing the cabinets. It looks nice. It looks beautiful. Cool. But the foundation never changed.
Yes, sir.
Oh man, that's so good. Come on. Talk about, I want to hear all the facets of what your business provides to youth, young adults, and pro athletes is what it sounds like. So talk about just your business. I want to plug your business right now. I want to hear about it.
The first and foremost is elevating the confidence. We get a lot of young people that deal with self-esteem, depression, anxiety, just feelings of inadequacy. So my job is to plant seeds into them, to show them their value, show them their worth, to show them how God loves them, to show them how God sees them, and to get them to understand that they can do anything in life that they want to, and that understand that losses don't define where you are. We're all going to lose at some point in life, but don't stay there, and just understand that you can respond. And you have so many people that love you, that want to support you, that want to see you be great in life. So providing that family for those young people, for those young athletes is absolutely spectacular for me. I always tell people I don't have a profession.
Just straight up.
I literally have the best like the best calling, that I can possibly imagine. So, and also, academics, we really focus on academics, making sure that our kids are staying, in the right place academically, because ultimately that's going to get us, in the right place for college scholarships and stuff like that.
You have a GPA requirement, right? Is what I saw.
Yeah, the GPA requirement. Yeah. So we also have our club team. So that's our all-star travel team for football players. It's called 7-on-7.
Oh yeah.
They don't tackle. They just wear like a little soft shell.
Yes.
And so they travel all around to these big time tournaments, and we get a lot of guys that get recruited.
That's awesome.
From that. So our quarterback just signed with Oregon State not too long ago. So it's really a blessing. So my job is just to connect with as many kids as possible. And kids these days have so many distractions, so many tools, so many
social media.
And sometimes parents don't have all the answers. Sometimes parents can't connect or even understand, what is going on, what the solutions are. So it's my job to come in as that counselor, as that mentor, to target the heart and show them practical solutions of how to get through those things, and then also to give them those spiritual barriers of how to guide against them in the future. So as that big brother, to my little brothers and my little sisters, it's such a special thing just every week, just to be able to have those counseling sessions, have those physical training sessions where we're also teaching life lessons at the same time, where we're getting stronger, getting faster. It's a great thing. So we do a lot of things within the sports sector, but we also do a lot of things within the community as well. So we have our homeless outreach that we do every month. We have our food handout where the cars drive up and thousands of people come. We put food in their car.
Do the kids do it with you, or is it through your church? That's so cool.
Yep. So we try to really, focus on the holistic part.
Yeah.
Serving. It's not just about the sports. We always say more than the sports. It's not just about what you do, but how can you use your platform to impact people? So we get our kids to come and talk on camera about their ministry and what they're doing on their campuses. And, it's like I said, it's just about creating more disciples and having them have their flock. So it's such a broad thing. Like people always ask me, like, what does Purpose Field do? Like
everything.
It's everything. Like everything that's about building people up. Everything that's about planting seeds that allow faith to grow, to flourish. That's what we do. And sports is just our channel. That's why I say sports is just a channel to connect, but everything else goes off of that.
Yeah. So so walk me through a day. Like walk me through what a typical day in the day of Élon looks like. Yeah. Because so do you have a team?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have a team of former athletes, former mentees that help me out.
That's awesome.
So they connect. My father helps me a ton. Yeah. My father helps me a ton. So, but basically a day for me, the first thing I do is also do in-home rehab. So I also get a chance to connect with seniors, non-athletes. So I have like elderly citizens that I go and I sit down with them and I have conversations with them about life. And that's what I do kind of in the mornings. And then once the kids get out of school, then they come to me at our facility. And then that's when we get a chance to connect. We do our physical training, we do our therapy. And then the other half, we go into the back into the office and we have our sit downs. We go through our life check-ins, we call it a check-in. And that's everything that they did in the past week, any challenges they had, any things they're going through mentally, physically, spiritually. We talk about those things, and then we kind of come up with goals, for the next week. So it's always about vision. The thing is about creating a vision and then always having something forward to look forward to. And the best thing that I like is every time we always ask a question and say, what was your favorite part about the week? And they always say, coming here. And that's
all it is.
That breaks me sometimes. Like it really gets me emotional when I hear that. Like, because you think it's so small, but it's not. Like to them, it's such an impactful thing from where they're coming from. You don't know. You don't really know unless they tell you. But for what they're coming from and having that hour and a half, hour and 15 with you, it just is so impactful to their heart. And it gives them that much more to keep doing what they're doing, to go through the rest of the week, to finish out on a joyful note, which is what we want. So, I definitely take it to heart. I get emotional when I see my kids grow from where they are and to where they're going to be. It's a spectacular thing.
That's that well done, good and faithful servant.
Yes.
That's so good. Mm-hmm. You said something that intrigued me, that you do in-home with elderly.
Yes.
Why?
Because that's something that I just felt so passionate about doing. I love to listen to the elderly. I love to listen to people that know more than me, that have life experience. I love to engage with them and to take wisdom from them and just to be a part of their space and to be a part of their fellowship. And I'm just so blessed with the 6, people that I'm able to work with every week, and just to connect. Those are my family. Like I call them grandpa and grandma. Like they're like this, and just going through the years of watching them and being a part of their family and just growing and get a chance to minister to them. And they ask me for advice now, which is kind of crazy. You know, they go, yo, what do you think about this? And I'll give them advice and they'll take it and they'll receive it, you know, from somebody that's, you know, not even half their age. So, you know, it's just something that I'd love to do. I've been doing it for about 7 years now. And I love it. I absolutely love it. So just to get a chance to not just do something that is about something that I was comfortable with, but something I was uncomfortable with, and get into a space where maybe I wasn't familiar with, and it panned out. You know,
Gosh. Okay, so when you said that, I thought of something. So I think two things separately. There are so many people in my generation, the generation before us, that they kind of what is the word I'm looking for? They ixnay the older generation because it's like they're too old, they'll never understand.
Yeah.
I've been told from an early age, when you're around older people than you, stop talking, sit and listen. Some of the most impactful ministry I've done is through a James 1:19 lens. So it's be quick to listen, slow to speak. If people, oh man, I'm so glad that you do what you do. If people would listen, just don't talk. Get around older people, wiser people who've been through it, who love Jesus more than you do, and just listen what they have to say. You will learn more in probably 10 minutes than you did the last week or 2 weeks of your life. Cool. The second thing, I think there's a lot of people they feel called to ministry, right? Especially newer Christians, right? Like when you become a Christian, it's just like, I have to be a pastor. Well, not necessarily, maybe. If you're called to ministry, go do ministry at the nursing home. So when you said that, I'm like, when you're called to ministry, that doesn't mean that you need a stage and a mic. Go to a low risk environment and talk to older people about Jesus.
Be uncomfortable.
It's free. And they're dying to have people come in and talk to them and just sit and listen to them. So if you're called to ministry, this is for somebody who's like, I need the stage, I need to share go share it with older people.
That's it.
They'll let you.
That's it.
Because not everyone's going to let you have a mic. And you got to be seasoned for that a little bit. You got to go through a process for that. But if you're called to ministry, go do the unseen work in the nursing home. Because they need people preaching the gospel, you know? Oh man, so that's so cool that you do that.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
It's amazing. Okay, so when you're saying the hour and a half session, that's one-on-one time. So your day is just kind of blocked. Yeah. You have schedule blocks for different athletes.
So Monday through Friday, I just stack it up. So I do my morning, and I take a little break, get lunch, and then once the kids get out of school, we bam, 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 all the way through. So I get kids that sometimes come after their football practice right now.
Yeah.
Fall, so they come out basketball, volleyball. So I do every single sport. So I kind of just stagger it based on what their schedules are. But yeah, it's amazing. It's fun.
Yeah. What's your relationship like with the parents? Do you do any work with the parents, or what does that look like?
It's key that I have that connection with the parents, because that's where the feedback comes from. That's where the critique, the constructive critique comes from. That's where I feed them, my recommendations. And I'm so blessed with our purposeful parents is they trust me.
Yeah.
And they allow me to do what I do without interference. They never push back. They receive the information because they know that I care and I love the kids. And they're like, you know what, I may not agree with what you're saying or the way you would approach this, but I'm going to trust you and I'm going to do it. And they get the good outcome, and they understand. They go, okay, I see why. I get it at first, but I see why you said that, why you recommended, this with the behavior that they were dealing with or whatever. So, like I said, my job is to always present things from the faith lens, and I also want to put some practicality in it. We're going to be science-based as well. Yeah. We have our child therapist, that also
that's cool.
Somebody I went to college with at Sac State. His name is Dr. Akoffer. And, so we always want to make sure we're doing things the right way. We're not just doing it from a whim, but we're also presenting that side as well. So, but our parents are absolutely amazing. I'm so blessed to have that family.
Yeah.
I said earlier, it's a family thing. It's family conversations that we're having, and growth is happening, because everybody is locked in. Everybody's invested in, like you said, listening and receiving the information and not being, hard-hearted.
Yeah. So I saw on your website, you're not taking people physically, but you do have a wait list, or you have availability digitally.
Yes, sir.
How can people, and what does that look like? So they're obviously not there training with you. Is that just counseling sessions online?
Yeah, online counseling through Zoom.
Okay, so you have availability online if there's any young athletes,
Yes, sir.
young adult athletes, pro athletes. I don't know, watching this, you have availability digitally. And then how can people support you?
Prayer.
Come on.
Biggest thing
Prayer.
for me is just to pray, and pray for my kids, my mentees,
Yeah.
my college athletes, my pro guys, and my pro women, and and that's basically it. If you want to send donations, we do our homeless outreach every month. It's on our website. But just prayer, just support, and just love. And when we do podcasts and different things like that, share those things.
Yeah.
There's so much negative information out there, and I always talk about being a counter, and social media is such a great way to be a counter, to put the positive out there. And I look at your social media and you see the positivity out there, and you see mine, you see the positivity on there, and that's what we want to elevate. We want to get those things into the hands of young people. We want them to be motivated by Christ and by the life that He has for them, and not all these different distractions that are in the world. So just simple things like that.
That's so good.
Great. Yeah.
Any last comments, word for the next generation, like anything burning on your heart to share with people? Like, what do they need to know right now, if anything? And it could be about anything.
Yeah, I would just say first and foremost, you all have value. All you young people out there who are in the world, striving for your dreams, walking forward through whatever facet of life, whether it's sports or not, you all have value. And no matter what challenges you guys are going through, no matter what you don't have, whether you don't have a father or a mother, or the most money, or live in the best neighborhood, or whatever things that you've gone through, God has a plan for your life, and He has a vision for you. And I just ask that you embrace it and allow yourself to fall into that time of work and that time of patience, and just allow Him to work on you, and allow Him to mold you, and allow Him to water that seed every single day, so you can become, whatever He needs you to be. And don't be afraid to get into some uncomfortable spaces. I think that's the biggest thing I would say too. Don't afraid to be uncomfortable. Sometimes we just want to do the things that we feel we're proficient in. And sometimes you go into that space where you don't have the skill set yet, and you need to be molded, in that time. So that's what I would probably say to the young people out there.
So good.
Yes, sir.
Élon Paige, you are such a gift to the body of Christ, to the next generation, to athletes, to just, man, this has been a blessing, bro. Like, first time meeting, and I just learned so much about you. And so Élon's Instagram will be linked, both of them. His website will be linked. Follow his journey. Support him if you can in any way. And if you're a coach watching this, I got some coaches that watch, players that watch. Like, if you need counseling digitally, if you ever want to make a trip down to Fresno, lock in with Élon. This is the guy. So stand up. I appreciate you and your ministry, man. Like, thank you for being here.
Thank you, my good man. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Yes, sir.
All right. Cut.